All right, Herd. It's not often that we get literal. And everybody always misuses the word literal and metaphorical, but you have two literal unicorns here. And first off, I think we need to give the round of applause to Kenny for going full unicorn with the onesie. Let's see how long he can keep it up as the temperature heats up on this episode of Unicorn Chef. All right, Kenny, what is tonight's charity?
All right, so tonight I want to really highlight anyone's local B-sides. Wherever you are, odds are if you Google your place and B-sides, you're going to find a local B-sides organization. They run local security conferences around your place, what's going on in your area, and allow you to grow a local network of professionals, friends, buddies, whatever, that will just help you grow in your skills, grow in your network. It's awesome. Personally, for me, besides San Diego, because that's where I live now, but shout out to DC because that's where I came up. And those are also my peeps. But really, anywhere you are, Google B-side and your place, and odds are you'll find something. And if you don't, you can start one. So yeah, check out any of the B-sides. Most of them are charities and nonprofits, and you really should reach out and try to get involved where if you don't know what it is. If you do, thank you, and let's keep doing the thing because it's awesome.
Yeah, I love what B-sides does. Of course, you know what Jack Daniels and company has done over there is just fantastic, and bringing community and making the cybersecurity world more accessible. And we came fresh off of that today with our own, which is GrimCon, which is kind of like a B-sides like organization event.
Yeah, it's really awesome that way.
Okay, so logistics for those of you at home cooking along. We'd love to see what you make, whether that's today or that's in the future. Hashtag Unicorn Chef, because I think it's so neat to see the same recipe made so many different ways. Kenny, first important question of the evening. What are you drinking?
Yeah, so I am a massive Irish whiskey fan. I think we have 4 varieties in the house at the moment. But tonight is a Redbreast 12-year single pot. But really, I'm not a Scotch person. Everybody gets all up on the Scotch stuff. I love me my Irish. And so I'm drinking a Redbreast 12. How about you, Preston?
I am celebrating a successful GrimCon and this show with a gin and tonic, Hendrick's, which I think everybody knows, but a tonic that is a little new on the market is Schweppes makes a 1783. So not the usual like cheap Schweppes. This is actually like high quality stuff. But in your honor, I am going to have a glass of the Redbreast 21 later this evening.
Of course you have 21 in the house. Best I have is a 12 cask strength. I'll have to up my game.
All right, let's make some Asian wedding soup. I mean, if you're still married to the idea.
Yeah, no, I am. Actually, this is a birthday. I spent some time after college teaching English in Vietnam, and have always just have a penchant for Asian food in general. It doesn't exactly fit what you would think first time you look, but I can't quite call it a pho because pho is super traditional and has like a lot of really different steps. But this is my I need something tonight, and soup is my favorite food. I could eat different kinds of soup 8 times a day and be perfectly happy. So this is my take on that, and specifically, most folks have heard of Italian wedding soup with the meatballs and the orzo and the greens in it. That's why it's Asian wedding soup. I don't believe this is an actual, recipe served in Asia, neither at their weddings. But it's that juxtaposition of the Italian side. Yeah. So if you know what Italian wedding soup is, it's a clearish chicken type broth base with meatballs as the main protein, and then they're in a really unctuous broth with tiny orzo pasta, but because this is going to be Asian style, it's going to be rice noodles. And yeah, my favorite part is to really get into the meatballs. Generally, if you want to go easy and simple, which is awesome, start with ground chicken. Just you can buy it at the store, whatever. I grab some boneless, skinless thighs and like to pulse them up in my food processor, but you don't have to. Like the other way is way easier. I'm just overdoing everything like always. So I got all my chicken thighs put up in here and really just mixing meat and any of that kind of stuff using the processor. So I'm going to throw, I think this is a metric ton of garlic. There's like 6 cloves in here, and then a bunch of cilantro in with it so that it gets all blitzed up. And then the bottoms of some green onions, these are the stronger part, so they work well in the meatball, and I save the tops for making everything pretty later. And then I did all up the liquidy soft flavoring stuff. Oh, look, and Bryson is way ahead of me. What a surprise. This is all the softy, liquidy flavoring stuff I throw down on top and scrape out with my finger because why not? Then I get to lick it and it's tasty. So it's going to get loud. Sorry. I'm going to run the food processor and basically turn this into mush. So here we go. Mute if you need to.
So I don't have a food processor. I had to do mine by hand.
I know it's loud. I'm sorry. It'll come out good in the end, I promise.
Okay. All right. So
I don't have a food processor. I had to do mine by hand, like actually like mashing everything together. And we already have a question from the audience. How does the cilantro hold up under cooking with keeping its flavor? Because usually if you cook cilantro too long, it loses a lot of its piquance.
It's a fair question. In the meatball, it's a really subtle kind of flavor. What it does add is a really nice color. You can still see the cilantro itself in the meatball, so it adds a nice looking. It looks pretty. And then when you put the sprigs on top as garnish later at the end of the soup, you still get that big cilantro flavor. So your brain gets a little confused and it's like, oh, these meatballs totally taste and some cilantro. And for those of you who are the soapy cilantro people, I'm sorry for your poor role in life. You roll the one. I'm sorry. You can admit it. It's fine. But yeah, so what you want is something tasty and ground up, and this gives you real texture. If anybody's made meatballs before, you would normally see something to bind these meatballs together, to hold them up, and especially because we're going to cook them in a boiling broth, this is going to disintegrate, like generally, if you don't have a binder. And this is kind of wet for a meatball that you're not pre-cooking. That's why we're going to stick them in the freezer. I use the freezer to like cool them up real fast. I imagine, Bryson, you probably kept it in the fridge. Otherwise, those would be like ice cubes. But what I do after I make the lovely ground up yumminess is grab my pan, and then I'm like such a nerd. I know like which size disher makes the right number of meatballs or whatever. You can totally just do it by hand, whatever, that's fine. But I'm like super particular. This is a number 24 disher, which is different than the number 20, and you know they're all size. I actually don't know what the 24 means, but I know this is the right size for the meatballs I like. And so at that point, I'm just pulling schlops of meat goo, which is awesome and tasty, and throwing them down on a sheet pan. And then these are going to go into the freezer. Sometimes I like to make them clean and tight, and they're real good little ball shaped. Sometimes they look like this when I'm just throwing them together. Either way, they're tasty. So I'm going to get these dished up real quick and in the freezer because we need them to firm up, like I said. And then we'll start on building the soup base, because soup base, if you don't have a good foundation, it's like a house. Soup is like a house. People think soup is simple. you can really kind of get into it. And if you build it on a good foundation and have a lot of flavor, it's just layers and layers, and you'll never buy a can of soup ever again.
Plus it freezes, so you make a lot and it's going to last.
Right. That's another really good point. You can make a ton of this. If you make way too much, you can totally put these, let them fully freeze, put them in a bag, and then pull them out later, and you can do this even faster. I know that the recipe I posted, it seems complicated, but if you do the prep and just kind of line it out, I tried to help with that, explaining that. If you do that, it's actually not too bad. It can be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be, which is like the entire point of Unicorn Chef, right, Bryson?
Absolutely. Make the kitchen more accessible, do good for the world.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm just throwing these down real quick. What was Bryson, tell me about your experience at GrimCon, because I get to watch and help moderate the chat a little bit. What about from like the MC's perspective? How did that go?
Yeah, so I was paired with Trisha Howard, who is a marketing manager at Garnish. She was one of the, we did a keynote panel. It was her, Steph, and Casey at number 4. And I really like her energy. And of course, she's been doing the unicorn thing. So I invited her to do the track 1 with me. And then we had Meryl and Wade over on track 2. One of the things I regret about my experience is I don't really get to see the new speakers. And I think so much what's so cool about GrimCon is bringing the diversity of new speakers and voices to the stage for the first time and giving them coaches to help them do it, right? It's not like we're just like, hey, show up. Like we help them do that. And I wish I got to see more of that side. I honestly think, having now done 5 of these, that this was our best one yet on the expert track with the quality and the content of the talks. John Stoner came out with like breathing fire about the CEH debacle and was really honest. That's the only one that's not going to be aired because we're not recording, sharing that one.
Yeah, I saw that one. I can absolutely understand why. Yeah.
But he was a CEH instructor, so like he spoke from a place of knowledge, not just tearing something down because it's an easy shot, but because he could really like speak to the specific flaws. I think it was really neat that Nicole Hoffman presented today, and she was a new her first time speaking ever was the first GrimCon. So that was her first time going on stage a year and a half ago, and she shows up now in the expert track. She's spoken at Sands. She's done all this stuff, and the aesthetics of her presentation were just fantastic.
That was the Scooby-Doo one, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Jinkies.
those were pretty awesome. To interrupt you real quick. So I got all my meatballs dished out. I'm gonna throw them in the freezer. Like I said, because without the binder, you throw these down. Ooh, you have better Mirin than I do. I buy cheap ones. Because these don't have anything that resembles binder, they won't hold together in a boiling soup to cook. So the freezer is important. I also don't like to bake them. Some people, the trick is, oh, well, I'll just bake them off and cook them. But then you throw them in the soup, and then they overcook, and then the texture is terrible. And then, yeah. So freezer, awesome hack. One of my favorites. I'll be right back.
So some other fun things from GrimCon. That was Nicole. So first of all, for any of you who do anything around like user education and training, Nicole's talk for fishing, I would consider it's 25 minutes. It's tight. It's funny. It's great. It would be perfect annual training on fishing for users. And then Alyssa Miller gave this like incredible production. I can't even describe like the quality of it. It was insane. And she had her own music to start it off. So like you start watching it. And I didn't know what to expect.
That was mind blowing. That was nuts. Yeah, so I'm now getting the soup ready now that those are getting formed up. I'm going to get the pot hot so that I can open up the smashed up garlic and the onions. If you put them in raw, they can be really like strong and sharp. But if you give them a second to open up in a little bit of oil, you will absolutely get a lot better. Like I said, build that good foundation. So I'm waiting for my pot to get hot, and then we'll start sauteing the base of the soup. And basically, just to give a preview, we're gonna build everything up in here. When the meatballs are ready, when everything else is ready, we're gonna pour the meatballs down, and it's all just gonna come together pretty quick. So that gives you and I a lot of time to just, chat, which is fun. And anybody else, I don't know if anybody else is cooking along, but
yeah, we got some folks cooking along. Everybody's kind of doing a little bit of a different take on it, so I'm really interested to see how it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of came up with this over time. The family likes it, but there's probably like a million different ways you can pull this off. I just like soup, and so we find a whole bunch of different ways to do that. I mean, it sounds so goofy saying that, but no, yeah, it's a good time you get to play with things and experiment too. And even if you make too much, I always make too much. Like we're a family of 4. My wife is standing over here in the doorway, like trying not to get noticed. But I got my lovely wife, 2 little kids, and this is probably going to be enough soup to feed an army, because that's how I grew up, was just a ton of food. But it'll freeze all right, and you get it done. You put the extras in the freezer, and then you have like extras for later, and you can do this all over again without all the work. So it's surprising to me how easy stuff like soup can be for folks who don't have a lot of time. You put all the time in once, and then it'll just kind of last you forever. I know that's a big concern for a lot of people. Oh, I don't want to get into the kitchen. I don't know how to cook. I can't do it. This is not the Food Network. You don't have to be a competition level chef. You're making dinner. Like, is it tasty? Awesome. You win.
Everybody wins.
Absolutely. Yeah. And whether you're cooking for just yourself or for a large group or a party or whatever. I mean, food has always been my thing. I'm a nerdy nerd, geeky type, maybe a little social, but I've never really connected with much in the way of what folks would consider art. Paintings. I don't paint. I don't write. I've tried. They don't connect. I tried music too. Didn't stick. This is the one thing I have that I feel like is a creative outlet for me, and that's why I like it so much. It's just sort of my way to express it, and then I get to share it with friends and family, and like love on everyone else as a part of the process. All right, so my pan is good and hot now. I have an electric range, so I'm gonna turn that down a touch because it can be finicky. And then like I said, you want to take those base kind of root things, the onion and the garlic, and you want to give them a chance to open up their flavor and mellow out a little bit. And so I'm going to throw a little oil down, bottom of the pan, just blub it. It does not have to be precise. I'm not a baker, by the way. That's another thing. Baking is way too precise and not enough touchy-feely for me. And so I prefer to just wing it most of the time. Don't tell my boss that's how I do work too. Oh, wait. Yeah, so besides that, getting the stuff down that pan might be too hot, whatever. And then I grab a little thing here on the thing. Yep, that's too hot. Of course. What I don't want to do is burn anything. So this is crazy hot. I'm gonna pull it off the heat for a second. If you burn this part, if your pan is too hot or you leave it alone too long, it's gonna get char. It's gonna burn. If you burn it, I strongly recommend starting this piece over, because that carbony, burny flavor is gonna persist through the entire rest of the soup. And I've done that. That's actually part of why I've learned not to bake these meatballs. Is because if you get them nice and brown and a little crispy on it, all that brown stuff, like the burned ends of it, come off and the soup, and your soup just tastes like burned food and not any of the yum. So if you happen to, which happens all the time, overdo your onions and your garlic here, just grab some more if you can. You're gonna have a tough time otherwise, I think. But you know, hey, it's all about like getting to experiment and try new stuff, which is fun too. Failures are just an opportunity to do better. How's it going
The audience thinks you're a pretty cool dude.
I have them absolutely fooled.
Hey, that's why it's TV.
Right, exactly. So this is the onion. This is, you want it to kind of get a little translucent. The garlic is just starting to turn brown, and so I need to kill the almost burningness with liquid. Because we're going to be cooking what are effectively just this side of ice cubes in this. Once I get the liquid down, because of course this package isn't going to open when I need it to. Let's go to the other one first. There we go. If you throw liquid down, water is a great heat sink. It eats heat. So I'm going to turn my heat back up to high and put in my chicken broth on top of this, and it will immediately like eat all of that heat and then some, and you no longer have to worry about burning at that point because the water will take care of your problem. The water in the chicken broth. And yes, I'm using boxes of chicken broth. Some people get all bougie about it, but you know what? It's easy.
Try this stuff.
Oh, better than bouillon? Yeah, but that's good stuff too. That's really good stuff. I think we have a jar somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, if you ever want. Oh, hey, thanks, sir. If you ever want to, that's the business. Look at, she really exists. She's not just over there in Canada. Oh no, she's gone. You want to talk about someone rarer than a unicorn? You got Noelle. She's amazing. So yeah, now we have.
She's going to show up on the show, right?
Well, she popped in to throw something in the can for me, and it was really nice. And then she ran away. You can come over. I think this is like the moment you need to come and say hi. This is Noelle.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
This is my wife.
Hi.
I'm way too lucky to have ended up with her, and it's pretty awesome.
How did y'all meet?
We met in 3rd grade. We went to this really conservative Christian school. We both happened to be there in 3rd grade and met one another. And I kind of like, you know, your 3rd, 4th grade level crushes. I kind of had a crush on her, to be honest. And then she wasn't in school anymore. Whatever. And this is, I'll be honest, the next thing I'm about to say is the only thing I really prefer a certain tech executive for. I ran into her again via Facebook when it started back up and did what, you know, most young 20-somethings do on Facebook looking for people. And I was like, hey, I remember her. And we got to talking, and then we got to dating, and then we got to being married. And it was pretty awesome. I am way more blessed than I deserve. Fun part now is to sit and wait. This is like the slow part. I have to wait for, I said it was a heat sink. Now I have to wait for all that liquid to actually rise in temperature, come to a boil. And you really, really, really want the soup at this point, like ripping boiling. If it's just a little bubbly, if it's a simmer, no, like, wow, that could not be boiling any faster. Yeah, now is the time to move forward.
If you don't, the meat will break apart because you want that heat that immediately gets that seal, and then the meat balls stay together.
Exactly. And the temperature is going to crash so hard, so fast when you drop cold meatballs in there. And so the more heat you have in the system, I'm going to nerd out on it. The more heat you have in the system, the better it will be. It'll transfer to that. And then yeah, like you said, the hardest that you'll get that outer crust, not crust, but like outer layer cooked really fast, and it'll hold everything together. That's the hack. That's the cheat that keeps you from having to pre-cook these things, which, in my opinion, kind of messes them up. Yeah. Okay. So my daughter is waiting at the door as well. She's gonna come say hi. Watch out, that pan is hot.
Can you put me down?
Yeah, you put it down. Here, come stand here.
Okay.
This is Addison.
Hi.
Hi, Addison.
She's my firstborn, and she likes to cook too. She's coming up with her own recipes and stuff. She just takes after daddy, I guess. God help her. Oh, now Mama's calling her. Wait,
What is Addison's favorite recipe?
Addie, come on back. What's your favorite?
What's your favorite recipe to make?
Well, my crunchy apple salad that that's my latest episode of my. I actually have a show.
We're working on putting something together for her to put online as like a cooking show. Maybe not as live streamy, but she's putting some stuff together. Yeah. She really likes this stuff.
I already have 2 episodes. They're on cloud.
They're in our cloud. I need to actually like suck it up and release them to the world. Yeah. Okay. McKenna, the other daughter, is a bit more shy, and she's reading right now. But Addie, like I said, God help her, she takes after her daddy, and I do not relish the next few years because I remember me. But she's amazing, and I love them all. How are you at over there?
I'm good. My meatballs are all in. They're floating. I got my temperature at the right level, so all my meatballs are staying together. Got a good rolling boil.
That's awesome. Yeah. So once I get caught up to Bryson, it's pretty much just a matter of dropping things in a couple more times. Depending on how soft you like your greens, you can put them in early. If you like them a little crunchier, you can put them in late. You can split it. I really like soups that have greens in. Oh, I got one behind you. Oh, there's McKenna. You're gonna hide behind me. Okay, this is McKenna. Say hi.
Hi, McKenna.
Say hi. Okay. Yeah. No. What do you want to say to anybody? You want to say anything? Oh, you want to show them the shirt? Okay. Here you go.
My shirt has unicorns on it.
It sure does. That looks really great.
Okay. Yeah. So life with the two of them is wild. She threw a unicorn. Wait, let me see. This is a thing. This is an entire thing in our house. Absolutely.
Oh, all the unicorns?
Yeah, she just like threw a unicorn at me for fun. But why not? This is our whole shtick. Which, yeah, no, has been kind of fun as well. For those who are a little behind, like me, if you throw a lid down on your pot, it actually makes a difference in terms of how quickly your stuff heats up. Even if you're just boiling water for like for pasta or whatever, you will get a significant improvement on time if you put the lid on it. Also, don't watch it. Apparently, a watch pot never boils, or so I have been told by plenty of old wives and the internet. But all that to say, now we have boiling soup. I'm going to move you because I'm not going to move a boiling pot of water. I'm not that crazy. There we go. So, like I said, we're not looking for a little simmer here. That's a full-on boil. All right. So, at this point, I'm going to go grab the meatballs out of the freezer, Hopefully they have firmed up enough. If you did this ahead of time and you did it in the refrigerator or whatever, great. Let's see if we've waited long enough.
So one of the tricks when you're adding the meatballs is you don't have to add them all at once. You can take your time, like put them in, get back up to a rolling boil. So you're always keeping the temperature of the soup or the broth where you want it.
So my freezer is a little more narrow than a half sheet pan. So everything kind of slumps off to one side. I have to put it tilted. But that's no big deal. They didn't fall off, yay, this time. See if I can get real close. You can see they still got a little squish to them, but they're much more firm, and it really does make like the most massive difference. And like Bryson said, just kind of take it in your time, give it a drop. Don't drop it from way up high. You're just gonna splash and hurt yourself. I actually should be using fancy glove thing so I don't burn myself.
Yes, if we've learned anything from Mike Ellis, safety first.
I thought safety third was the motto around
Oh no, I mean like actually safety first, because he almost burned his house down while cooking.
Look at that. Look at the show. Texture. This is why I go for the food processor bit, just because I'm bougie like that. But you don't want to wait too long between each one. You do want to, you can give it a second, but like if you wait too long, some of them are going to be cooked so far, and some of them are going to be cooked not as far. By the time we're done, though, I mean, they'll all be done through for sure. So I'm going to scoop these off real quick.
Mine's good.
Yours is good?
Yum. Yummy!
So one of the things in getting ready to come here and hang out with you all, that like felt the most intimidating, I'll be honest, was writing the recipe down. I do this by feel, like most of the time. I was like, oh right, I have to tell people what I use, and a little of this and a glug of that is not gonna help people who like don't do this in general, and want to learn. And so I was like, and I had to do it like 2 or 3 different times to make sure I got everything written down and all my proportions right and everything. But you don't have to get it exactly right, to be fair. If you're doing it by yourself or at home and you don't like spicy stuff, don't add the pepper sauce. Don't add the Sriracha, There's also a metric ton of garlic in this recipe, which can be a bit much for some folks. And ginger. That was actually my wife was reminding me, and ginger. That's actually the thing I meant to say, was that, yeah, there's a lot of that in here. But by the time you're done with the soupening and everything, you'll really appreciate having all that extra strong flavor involved. I've gotten all of them in, and by this point, remember what I was saying about how it's just going to crash the temp? Look at that. You wouldn't think it was hot a second ago. So we'll get there. Hi. Oh, thank you. You don't have to hide from that. I keep my lovely wife keeps like helping with the dishes and pulling things away. I should do this more often. And then again with the lid, like I said, it works not just at the start, thank you, but you'll just keep bringing everything back up. So next thing we're going to drop in the soup will be the bok choy. We had it chopped up to like really.
Oh, you really chop yours up! Wow.
I mean, it's really personal preference. I just want to make sure that it's like a bite will fit on the spoon. The white part at the bottom of bok choy, unless you got like the baby stuff that's mostly green, isn't going to go anywhere. Like it's going to maintain this size. The green bits are going to wilt and shrink. So if you have more green than white, yeah, see, that's also fun too, though, is it, it hangs off the thing. It's just, it can be messy, and cleaning the dribbles the dribble.
I've had a beard before. I recall the fact that it was a soup collector no matter how hard I tried.
That is, yeah, no, that is absolutely true. And I think I remember that was a whole ordeal for you, wasn't it?
I mean, I grew. I mean, I spent 18 months with the pandemic not shaving, and then discovered a whole bunch of characters along the way. It's where I first discovered Cyber Moses, then Cyber Santa, then Cyber Gandalf, and then all the other characters as I shaved it off for charity. And then I cut my hair off just a few weeks ago because I'd also grown that out. So
is it bad to say that I miss having you in the big bearded club? I mean, I keep it up, but I mean, my cheeks haven't seen the light of day since 2006.
There are a lot of people who definitely shared their appreciation for it. There were some people who were not so kind about it.
What, because of the whole you're supposed to be a professional thing? Also, by the way, you're back up to boil, so I'm going to go with the next step.
Some people are just jerks.
Well, I mean, it's the friggin' internet. So yeah, I'm going to put about half the bok choy in now, so that it tenderizes up. But I'm mostly going to save the greeny part for the end because I don't like it super overdone. But the white part with bok choy, because it's a weird, I think it's a cabbage. That part could you really use some tenderizing. And I'm also going to throw down about half of my mushrooms as well, because that'll soften them up a ton and add a lot of complex flavor. There's a lot of like compounds and umami stuff and, you know, cooking nerd bits, but I'm going to throw down about half of them. But I really like the texture. That's the other thing. People think like soup is just like a liquid, and there's all sorts of bits and bubbles and textures. So I'll throw about half of it in. Those are going to get really soft, but that's fine because they've given up all their wonderfulness to the broth, which will also be awesome. And then I'll throw the rest in right toward the end, and they'll still have some of that bite. And then also at this point, I will add all the other gingery, saucy, liquidy bits. One thing, a lot of folks at this point would probably have like soy sauce to add to the broth as well. I don't like adding soy to the broth itself because it makes it look darker, and I prefer to have that like lighter looking. So I make up for the salt in other places because you'll get all that salt. Also, I don't take me to the bank on it, but I think if you use the right soy sauce, this is probably, and rice noodles, it's probably a gluten-free recipe for those of you who have who are what is it, stomach diverse, just like neurodiverse.
Is that the phrase, stomach diverse?
No, I'm making this up as I go. You are already eating soup, aren't you? This is what I get for.
No, I'm not. I'm not eating anything.
This is what I get for wanting to show people how I do it.
Nothing's happening here.
To some of the people who are watching's point, there's some cilantro that I'm gonna mostly save for garnish. I might throw in right at the end. It's really delicate and will lose most of its flavor if you cook it much. But I've got a little left for the garnishy bit. And then there's a whole bunch of fun for the garnish too. I really enjoy this type of stuff.
So on that one where I saw you were going, because I could tell like the Vietnamese influence, I went and got holy basil. So I had the actual Thai basil.
Right. Yeah, that's a Thai basil, and you know they technically I don't know why they call it. It doesn't taste like Italian basil. Like
no, it's actually a different plant.
I don't know why they call it basil, but yeah, Thai basil and Italian basil. If you're like, why would I want this to taste like pasta sauce or pesto? No, these are way like continents difference in terms of taste and flavor. So, all right, so I'm back up to full boil again after adding all my things. So now is the time for noodles. I made this once a little while ago and used up the first half of the box. So here's the second. The instructions on the box probably. Oh yeah, see, there's some nice legit ones. I love it. The box probably told you to like pre-cook them, and then maybe or the internet told you to pre-cook them and pour the soup over it, which is a thing. But I like the extra starch that the noodles add to the broth. It builds more of that unctuousness, that mouthfeel. Hi, oh, hey, thank you.
When I make ramen, I do ramen that way. I'll do a little thing of noodles and I'll pour the steaming hot ramen over it. And those, they cook in 60 to 90 seconds. So it's perfect because they take so little to get there.
Another one we really like to do is flavor of the week is we use soba noodles, which are wheat, not rice. And they have a really great texture and do the same kind of thing. But it's, like I said, the whole thing is just like, hey, do what you like. I need to mix the thing. Spoon. The noodles are not all down in the water. So yeah, at this point, because we got the meatballs in nice and cold when we started. No binder, but that's a solid meatball there, and they're super tasty. But the noodles go for a little bit. Maybe about halfway through the noodle cook, I'm going to put the rest of my veg in. Like I said, because of the texture stuff. And then it'll basically be done. And you'd think, hey, I gotta go to the Vietnamese place. I gotta go to the whatever and get their soup, because I just can't make. No, this is like the total cheater way. And yes, you were right. It is absurdly warm in here with all the soups. So I'm going to lose this. But hey, side plug for another charity is Save the Chubby Unicorns, because that's what my kids call me, is the Chubby Unicorn.
There's also a program out of the San Diego Zoo for chubby unicorns.
Yes, there is. Yes, we get. I've actually been down the road. So there's two parts to the San Diego Zoo most people don't know. There's the safari part, which is much closer to where I live. I live up north in the hills. You've either got like the downtown people, or the coast people, or the hills people. I'm living in the hills. I'm not from here, so this is just random happenstance. But much closer is the safari part, which is like a different theme kind of flavor to zoo stuff. But then you've got the San Diego Zoo, which is like world renowned for being awesome. And they have like this cable car system that takes you throughout the thing, and you can see down into all the different enclosures. But they have a pretty decent rhino population, and it's pretty nice to see there. And they're, yeah, I always enjoy getting to check that out, and the kids too. Like, I mean, I keep being able to excuse things like, oh, hey, yeah, I like unicorns because I got two little girls here in the house. Yeah, that doesn't fly for like about 5 minutes after someone gets to know me, but that's fine.
So the plug Kenny was going for is the swag store at Scythe. The charity behind it is the Chubby Unicorns, which chubby unicorns are endangered rhinos. There are 4 species of rhinos, one of which is effectively extinct, the white rhino. And so chubby unicorn, chubby unicorns, rhinos. So the unicorn reference, and that's at swag.scythe.io for contributing to that charity.
Thank you. So my noodles are about half done. I'm throwing the green top of the Bok Choy in. And I mean, you don't have to be particular. You'll just get some crunchy white bits. There's also more yummy texture. And then the end of my mushrooms into the top of the pot. And I mean, doesn't this just make people happy? This makes me so happy.
Hungry.
And hungry. It's my happy place. Also, This is my happy place.
Here, I've been giving this to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is a unizebra.
The unit Dalmatian zebra thing. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff here in the house. So I'm gonna catch. Can you catch?
Yeah.
Woo! Oh, no, you don't catch with the. Dude. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a good stir. Make sure these kind of move around a little bit. Basically, we're just waiting for the noodles to have a decent cook and texture. If you go too far, they can get a little gummy. We're probably close at this point. Let me pull one out without hurting myself. There we go. Nope, only a little. Oh, maybe another minute or two. I don't know where the whole thing with throwing noodles against the wall and hoping they stick means they're done. I've never
gotten that one. Yeah.
I've never had it. I've never had it be successful. Like if it was, I mean, cool. I'm all for non-standard methods of doing things, but it's never worked for me. So I just ate one. So have you gotten into your red breast yet, or were you finished in the other one?
Oh no, the red breast is for later in the evening. So gin and tonic for this. I've got a wine for dinner, and then I will relax later with a red breast 21 and think about probably I'll be thinking about work. So I'm flying out on Friday for Tel Aviv because Cyber Week is flying me out to give a talk. So I'll probably be going over my talk and thinking through things because I don't quite like where it's at. So continue to work on that.
How has your experience been with the information security community in Israel?
Half of my competition at Scythe is Israeli. I find the whole 8200 mystique amusing. I find the customers in America who are just like, well, we need to buy that. It's Israeli. I find that funny. I have empathy for where they are. I mean, the US is the InfoSec market to break into. There's just not that much money anywhere else. It's a fraction. So they get a cool idea, right? They graduate 8200. They get a cool idea. Actually, one of my competitors, the founder, is the ex chief of Mossad. And then they try to figure out, how do we sell this in the United States? And they don't know the market. And they all have, buckets of cash, and they try to buy it. So I'm now on my third wave of an Israeli company trying to buy their way into this market and compete with me, because the other ones have come and gone. So it's really interesting to see it. I think what the Israeli ecosystem does is uniquely impressive for a country that's that small.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it really, I guess it comes down to what people decide to prioritize, whether at a personal, a company, a corporate level, or a national level, where they decide what's important gets the dollars, right? And then that is, for better or for worse, what fuels that level of innovation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my lovely wife, you really can't. I wish she would be on camera more. She's so nice, but she's putting out bowls and she's gonna grab me. Okay, so thank you. This is Big Blue. My bowl has a name. This is my soup bowl. Did I mention I like soup? I've had this since, oh gosh, what, 2004, 2005? I got it for my birthday on a trip to Chinatown in Chicago. I went to Illinois Tech, little plug, IAT, go Scarlet Hawk. I went to Illinois Tech, and it's just south of Chinatown in Chicago. And so I went and grabbed this from a shop up there. And my phone died. I have it. I messed up.
Well, you're upstaging me on the bowl, that's for sure, because I just have a plain white soup bowl. I don't know what's happening, but my soup's delicious, and I'm plated and ready to go. If you those of you who've been watching me eat it throughout, it's delicious. I'm very excited about this. I'm hungry. Look forward to seeing everybody else's pictures at home, except for Mike. Mike, that was not an invitation to share home pictures. All right, chat, what do you got? Oh, yeah, no, we completely lost them. So probably come back in a minute. I know you're going to share home pics. You don't care. I understand that. I can still warn you. Shannon, did you post pictures of your soup? You said you were cooking along. Oh, here we go. Ooh. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. Nice looking soup. And you got a pretty bowl. That's cool. Hashtag safety. I mean, Mike, I think you're being trolled again. Well, I'm gonna show the picture of my soup here. Properly plated. Oh. And that is Asian wedding soup. This is now turned into actually one of those Asian shows where you can watch me eat it. Mmm. Mmm. Mmm.
Yeah. So my phone says it has 66% of its battery, but it decided to just say goodnight. So whatever. But the soup finished by this point, for me, probably for most folks. And I dished it up into Big Blue. Everything. Oh,
I know.
You can see Noel now. Hi, Noel.
All right, we're gonna. So let me set up the final screenshot.
Oh yeah, let me get the bowl. Well, wait. Let me make it pretty. So the last part I like to do is like kind of a flourishy, garnishy bit. I'll take the toasted sesame oil and give it a little drizzle, because with the steam coming off it, it makes it smell amazing. And then I like it hot, so I mean, come on. So I'm gonna give it a drizzle of sriracha, some sesame seeds, make it look fun. It's like soup. It's like Asian soup sprinkles, you know. And then I overdo it. I mean, we've got Noel sliced these for me. Look how pretty these are. Some green onions in the middle. And then, yeah, to all those cilantro fans we were talking to, now you'll still taste it if you throw it in at the last second. And now we're looking for that. Here you go.
All right, get in the picture.
Oh, all right. I have to tilt. Tilty. Okay, let me get in the shot. Here we go. Oh, no, okay.
All right. Asian wedding soup.
Asian wedding soup. So
Kenny,
yeah.
our charity again.
B-Sides, your local B-Sides. I'm here in San Diego, so B-Sides San Diego. If you don't want to look for your local, otherwise go where you're at, find a B-Sides and get involved. It's awesome and has tremendously contributed to my life, much less my professional development. So.
Hashtag Unicorn Chef. Share your pictures at home. Donate. Give back. Next week, Mike is going to be hosting because I'm going to be in Israel. But I just lined up a special celebrity chef for the week after. We are going to have the return of Chris Krebs on the show in 2 weeks.
Nice.
See y'all there.
Very cool. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Addison.